Hi everyone, I am Boris, the executive producer of War Robots project. Let's talk about successful projects and their less successful features. You know, when you look at the top grossing project with a lot of players, it is always an illusion that all what they're doing is efficient. Their features, keys to their success. There is always an urge to copy something from them. Steal from the best, steal like an artist. Great strategy, I like it a lot. But the truth is that every project, even the most successful ones, has its own graveyard of features. A list of useless or even failed features, which could still be in the project. Usually these graveyards are hidden, and only team members knows what lies on it. But today, I'm gonna invite you to take a walk around our graveyard of features. But before we start, let's get some context about us, about War Robots. War Robots, it is a PvP shooter, top in its niche, 9 years in operation, yada yada yada. I'm showing you this not because my PR team told me so. Well, not only. This is a bit of context. We can kind of be called big and successful. And someone could want to copy something from us. But the most important, during the 9 years of live ops, we made a lot of features and obviously a lot of mistakes. So our graveyard is quite big. But today, I'm going to show you 5 most peculiar gravestones, my favorite ones. That's because these ideas, when we just thinking about them, they looked so obviously useful. 100% guaranteed result. And after, they failed. So let's start with the first one. And this case is about some monetization. You can call this feature chains of offers. A simple idea. Several offers which can only be purchased one by one. The first one usually cheap to engage player in the chain, and the last one is the most profitable to ensure that player purchase the whole chain. Maybe you've seen something in games with developed monetization. And we decided to make our own chains of offers and happily start testing. The first approach that we tried was the most basic one. 3 offers, the first is cheap, last is profitable, and in control group, we gave just single offer with the same amount of resources and the same price as a whole chain. What was the result? 30% more revenue from the chain. Looks like a win? Well, not exactly. When we dug deeper, we discovered that all that revenue increase was because of the cheap first offer. A lot of people purchased it. But the amount of players who purchased the whole chain was even less than in control group. So that led us to conclusion that all that results could be achieved even without chains. We could make a cheap offer and expensive offer, and that's all. All right, we said, let's try something else. Let's add some free stuff at the end of the chain. And again, in control group, same amount, same price. No statistically significant differences. All right, at that point, our monetization team was furious. They decided to test the heck out of this feature, and they tried so many different stuff. They tried different content, different prices, different length of the chain. No significant differences. They even tried to replace one of our starter offers with a chain. And in this test, they even decreased conversion to payers. The only positive results that we get, this is when we try to use chains as an advertising placement. But well, this is not what you expect when you copy a feature from a top grossing project. So it went to our graveyard. Next story. This is a story about battle passes. Yes, in plural. Some time ago, we introduced a battle pass feature in our game. Common stuff, 2 lines, free and paid one. Ordinary feature with expected results, added some revenue, and took its place in our zoo of monetizations mechanic. But after that, we started to think, maybe we can make this feature better, enhance it. And we came to a very bright solution. Let's add some S. Battle passes. Instead of single battle pass, we introduced 4 different lines with different prices, different content for different players. Simple idea. It is difficult to adjust just single battle pass for every player. But if you have 4, you can make a cheap one, an expensive one for new players, for old players. Well, the more the merrier. What could possibly go wrong? Well, for a big and successful project, nothing is impossible. And after the honeymoon, the first month after release, we started to notice that we're losing money from this feature. Up to 10% decrease. Well, that was kind of devastating. And we tried to improve the situation, tried different content, different prices. But our best guess was that we overcomplicated this feature. It is difficult to maintain 4 lines for players. So we decided to reduce the amount of lines, made them completely different. And yes, we got some revenue back. But this is not the result that you expect. And the fun stuff about this feature is that sometimes we speak with the people from industry, with some experts, and at least a couple of times we heard positive feedback about this feature. Wow, great approach. A segmentation in battle passes. Good idea, they said. You see, even the professionals can sometimes mix a good feature and the feature from graveyard. All right, I don't know what about you, but I'm a little bit tired of all that monetization stuff. Let's talk about something fun, something good, about making the right thing. Meet Destrier, this little fellow. This is your first robot in our game. And this robot has quite strange starting loadout. 2 weapons, which not much with each other. They have different range, different mechanic, different damage type. It's just inconvenient to use these 2 weapons together. And generations of game designers was frustrated with this fact. And one day, they finally persuade me to make the right thing and fix it. Of course, through the A/B test. In Group B, we offered our players more similar guns, more convenient, at least with the same distance. But in Group C, that was the right thing. The same weapons, the most convenient way to play our game. And what was the result? In Group B, there was no significant changes in players' behavior. In Group C, well, yeah, slight increase in day 1 retention. Whoa. But both groups dropped our conversion rate to payers. So, to utmost sorrow of our game designers, we had to leave inconvenient loadout. Because right thing is not always mean useful. And the same goes to obvious things, things that everyone's doing. And in this case, this is quests for returning players. Simple mechanic. I bet you've seen it in every service game because it's so obvious. If your players left your game and return after some time, it is worth to try to engage them back and give them quests with hefty rewards. But for us, it was quite new. We didn't have this mechanic until this year. And after the rework of our quest, we made our own welcome back quests. And I think you could already guess the results of this test. Yes, no significant changes at all. Even worse, we got this chart. This is a revenue from the first week of returning players. And statistically speaking, there is also no significant differences, but speaking as a human being, not as an analyst, I would not apply a test group for every player, just in case. But the most fun stuff about this one, this is a presentation about fails. And it is just organic to fail in this presentation, right? And I did it 15 minutes ago. My team wrote me that in this feature, in this test, there was a technical mistake. We had problems with the tracking. So maybe all this slide a mistake. So please don't take it seriously. Maybe next time I'll say completely different stuff about this feature because we are going to retest it. This was just 15 minutes ago. Well, I already like this meeting and this presentation. That's amazing. All right, let's go to the last one. To the mausoleum of our graveyard. This is a story about great feature in which we put a lot of hopes, faith, efforts about background downloading. Some context. Years ago, you could download whole game, War Robots, just from the store. You download a game, launch it, and play. But release after release, the size of our client grows. And when it came to a psychological border of 1 gigabyte, we decided to make a delivery system. After that, players download from store a small client, launch it, and after that, download all other assets. And only after that, they can go to their first battle. And the results of this feature was expected. On one hand, the amount of new installations skyrocketed, more than twice increase. And that's understandable. It's easier to download from store a small game. But on the other hand, the amount of percentage of players with at least one battle decreased. And that's also understandable. Nobody likes to sit and wait until the game starts downloading something. They want to play. So combining this all together, we get a slight increase in effective installs, installations with at least one battle, and some better retention. Not much, but if you spend a lot of money on user acquisition, every bit counts, But after we started to think, maybe we can make this feature better. We definitely like the first chart. Amazing. But the second one, well, not so much. So let's just fix it. Let's fix the second chart. And we had a bright and simple idea for it. If our players don't like to sit and wait and want to play, so let them. Let them play right after installation and download all other stuff in the background. Super. Very simple idea, very complicated technical implementation. That's not an easy stuff. It's a fancy feature. Not every project can allow themselves to do something like that. But we made it. And please, look at this chart. Beautiful, isn't it? Even if you don't know what it shows. It's just nice to look when something's grow up. Well, that's how the players funnel looked in our test group when we just released this feature. Wow, it's time to open some champagne, right? Well, we decided to wait until full result will come. And here they are. Yes, we greatly improved players' experience at the beginning of the game. The amount of players with at least one battle increased up to 30%. In fact, 30% more players actually played our game. That's amazing. That's so much. Even if we took the amount of players with the 10 battles, there's also an increase. But when we start to look at retention, we found significant changes only on one platform. And day 7 retention didn't change. But the most important metrics, money metrics, conversion, revenue, paid no attention to our efforts at all. And that was a really bitter pill to swallow. We discovered that obvious idea with a bright technical implementation could not add some product value to your game. That just happens. So let's wrap some final thoughts about this one. Stealing like an artist is still a great strategy. Don't hesitate to do it. Just keep in mind that doing this, you could dig someone's graveyard. And even obviously useful, 100% guaranteed features could not work for you, for your project. Thus, testing is essential. And if you have an opportunity to make an MVP, go for it. It will help you to stop in time before investing too much in failing feature. And the last one. Don't be afraid of graveyards. It is a part of our life, such as our mistake. Thank you so much. You're great.